Hey YouTube, this is Cayem Interviews, and I'm your host, Tim Cayem, and we're here to go through the top 10 best songs Circa Survive has ever written. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, Circa Survive is a very, very talented band. They aren't crazy diverse. I mean, we have always kind of expected roughly the same sound from Circa Survive, but with, the frontman Anthony Green having multiple different projects like Sounds of Animals Fighting, Seosin, his solo stuff, etc., there's just a lot of variation that we can expect from the guy. I mean, he's writing a lot of different material for a lot of different bands. Given that most of Circa Survive songs sound the same, it can kind of get lost in translation sometimes, I feel like. So I think that narrowing it down to a top 10 best list is pretty cool. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning, going over Juturna, then On Letting Go, and then Blue Sky Noise, and then some other random sprinkles from their more recent albums that I don't think are as strong. So first off for me, Juturna off their first full length, I'm a huge fan of Appendage. I definitely think that makes it on their list. Appendage kind of comes across very heavy, energetic right away, and back when I saw this band in I think I was 14 or something, so it was a long time ago. Damn, I think I was 14, so...
1 hour later.
In 2005 or 2006, I saw this band co-headlining with Cute Is What We Aim For, and the energy you get from Appendage in a live setting is insane and hard to match, especially back in the era when Juturna was fresh. So I really just have a special place in my heart for Appendage, and it was one of their main singles for the record, so I feel like it's a given that it needs to be in their top 10. Number 2, In Fear and Faith, and this song is also equally nostalgic for me in that it gives off this Circa Survive feeling of euphoric, experimental, and just, relaxed feeling when you listen to it. This was another track that was a huge single for Circa Survive when Juturna just came out, and the music video was awesome that went with it. I still watch it to this day, and I'm just really impressed with the track overall. This song kind of has a lot of moments where Anthony Green can kind of just belt it live and just kind of get emotional with it, and I really think it's just cool to have the band up for interpretation with their own music, so it's been a really cool track to see live as well as just kind of seeing how it performs over the entire record. Number 3, and my final choice for their top 10 from Juturna, is Holding Someone's Hair Back. And the reason why I love this song is because, again, this was kind of something that the band used to open with back in the day when Juturna was fresh, and it kind of gives you this eerie feeling of what you're about to experience and what you're about to embark on with Circa Survive. It starts off very slow and then works its way into an awesome cadence that people can kind of jam and bob their heads to, but still just enjoy their time with the Circa Survive sound. The end is kind of chaotic and fun, but I think it's just a great time for everyone listening, especially in a live scenario, of course. I think Juturna from Circa Survive is probably one of their most fun records to see live, and just, I don't know, it's just very nostalgic for me. Moving on to number 4 from their next record, On Letting Go, is a track called Living Together. Living Together is the opening track for On Letting Go, and I believe it's my favorite track on the entire record. I remember first getting this CD and putting it in my CD player and being amazed at how beautiful Living Together is. I truly think it is the best track on the record, and I think it's all-encompassing in terms of what I wanted to ever hear from Circa Survive. The beautiful voice of Anthony Green that kind of yields everyone to a halt right at the get-go is just so awesome, and I think that the rest of the song is just so powerful and melodic. I just think it's one of the catchiest songs that Circa Survive's ever written. On Letting Go is probably my favorite record from Circa Survive in terms of the entire thing just being solid front to back. I think Juturna is a close second and very nostalgic for me, but On Letting Go to me was the peak of Circa Survive and the most mature, I don't know, I guess exactly what I want Circa Survive to create. So it was really kind of hard for me to be fair in terms of having equal distribution throughout all the records. So my next choice for On Letting Go is called The Greatest Lie. The Greatest Lie to me was In Fear and Faith on steroids. It was just again, this calm cadence, but kind of warms up to this mood of Circa Survive that just kind of makes you bob your head a little bit. I don't know. I just really love the song, and I think it's a great standout track for the band. Of course, we have to mention the difference between Medicine and Poison is the Dose, as that was one of their singles for the record. To me, this track kind of takes you through the entire journey of what you can expect from Circa Survive. I really, really love the sound. I think it takes you through multiple different varieties of what Circa Survive can bring to the listener, and I just think it's an overall great single. In the Morning and Amazing is another huge standout track that a lot of people love as it is a single, but I wouldn't actually consider it my top 10. That's just a personal choice from my end. Moving on to other works here from Circa Survive, I'm actually going to skip to an EP for Appendage. Appendage was a great EP, and I actually really love the song Every Way. So that's my next track because I think that it's honestly one of the strongest songs that Circa Survive's ever written. So again, like Circa Survive kind of has this thing where they start you off with like an ominous thing, and then they like release to Anthony Green's beautiful vocals, and I really think that Every Way does this like the best, and I'm so stoked on this song. Every Way to me is like one of the prettiest songs that Anthony Green has made with his voice. I mean, I love Seosin, and I'll probably make another video later in regards to what Anthony Green has created with Seosin and his solo stuff, but in terms of Circa Survive, Every Way is like anything you would ever want for Anthony Green's voice. I mean, it's an awesome track. So I definitely think that if you haven't heard it, you should go to Appendage and check that out, bookmark it, whatever you got to do, and listen to it. On to number 8, and I'm sure you guys are probably wondering how I only have 3 more selections and we're just now getting to Blue Sky Noise. I know for a lot of people, Blue Sky Noise is when they just started first listening to Circa Survive, but for me, it was actually quite the opposite. When Blue Sky Noise came out and all my indie friends started listening to Circa Survive, I was a little bit TO'd, even though that's really stupid, but I was just like kind of felt neglected from the band, and I didn't really like the change that they were going in. I mean, now I can definitely appreciate the sound and I appreciate the songs on this album, but at the time, I actually started dipping away from loving Circa Survive. So number 8 for me is Frozen Creek. I think it's a great track. Again, you have this theme of like starting off slow and then getting to a beautiful melody from Anthony Green's voice. To me, this really shows that the band knows how to play at a slower tempo. Of course, they've done it in the past, but this is just an impactful, I guess, way of portraying how strong they can be at a slower tempo, and actually seeing Anthony Green perform this live is just like insane. Number 9, we're going to stick with Blue Sky Noise, and we're going to go with Dyed in the Wool. This track for me is awesome because I don't know, it's like got this feeling of, I don't know, euphoria again that kind of almost relates to what I was talking about with Juturna, and that it's like this euphoric feeling that you get when you listen to Circa Survive. A lot of other bands in the scene don't really use some of the instruments or tones that Circa Survive experiments with, and I thought this was an awesome kick in the face when I heard Dyed in the Wool. Even back when I was trying to be a hater on this album and not completely stoked, I absolutely love Dyed in the Wool, and I think it's definitely one of their top 10 best tracks. Not to totally neglect Dissensus or Violent Waves, but I actually don't have any from those 2 records as making my top 10 for Circa Survive's best tracks. So therefore, that leaves me to their most recent record having 1 track into their top 10 best tracks on The Amulet. And as I'm sure you all are guessing, it's Lustration, which is one of their, top 5 favorited songs on Spotify or whatever. To me, this definitely like goes in line with the more mature Circa Survive sound, and that there's kind of a lot going on. It sounds a little bit more experimental, and I just love the instrumentation from the drums and how it's kind of reminiscent of the older Circa Survive sound, while there's still a sense of a maturity there with Circa Survive. So if I were to choose a song that kind of represents in their top 10 here from their recent records, I would definitely say Lustration is in their top 10, and I would say that you should check it out. So guys, I'm not completely sure if I got your top 10 in this list, but these are my top 10. These are songs that I hold near and dear to my heart from Circa Survive. I've been a huge fan since the beginning here with Juturna, and I've loved to see them mature into what they are now. If you think I missed out on a song that you so deeply love, please leave it in the comments below and let other people see what you're thinking. And you know what? I'm sure I'm wrong in terms of your opinion, and that's totally fine. And here we have opinions, and that's okay. Express them in the comments below, and let's have a chat about it. What top 10 songs do you want me to work on next? Do you guys want to hear my top 10 on maybe Seosin or a bigger band like A Day to Remember, something like that? Like, leave it in the comments below, and we'll get to it. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, this is Cayem Interviews. Peace out.